lightning speed fireside chat to start that off. Romil, if you would like to join me on the stage, and Pranjuli from ProMeat. Great. Very settled. So, some of you who already know Romil, but I'll do a quick introduction or I'll try. Romil is the Executive Director and CEO of the Grabs Group and with the brand Plantaway, as well as Pranjuli Garg. She is the co-founder of ProMeat's, which is a startup. So I know that this is a different kind of a conversation over here. Before we had Abhinav and Mr. Tips and their kind of collaboration over here. I know Romil, you collaborated with QSR and you given to QSR as well. So there's two perspectives that you can bring there. And I know Pranjali, you've also collaborated with food service through ProMeat. So I'd love to first ask you, Romil, how has the journey been as Plantaway taking products to food service and QSR?
Look, I think for us at Plantaway, I think I believe we had a slight advantage because I spent 30 years running hotels and restaurants. So everything that we developed at Plantaway was developed keeping in mind what I believe was the lowest common denominator. Who is actually going to use the food? Who's going to use the ingredients? Who's going to use the stuff that we're making? And we had to be able to produce products which a cook could do, not the executive chef. Because the executive chef was not the guy who could stand and physically cook the product. To the functionality of everything that we produced had to actually mirror what an animal product would do. I think the most basic explanation would be milk. If I wanted someone to make a kheer with milk versus making a kheer with my oat milk or my almond milk, just think about what a chef would do or a cook would do. He put milk, he put sugar, he put rice, he put a low flame, stir it once, and he go and do something else. He was not waiting. With most plant-based milks, you have to wait and watch. Is it going to split? Can I keep mixing it? So every single thing we did was say, how do we make sure that everything is as functional as an animal protein or product, so that the acceptance is easier. Because it doesn't matter what an executive chef says, it doesn't matter what the owner of a restaurant says. Finally, it's the guy doing the job who's going to decide the future of your product. Much like at home, right? I mean, the simplest example would be I can go buy the best, I can go buy Lab, I can buy any brand in the world. But if my dad wakes up in the morning and says, "Hey, chai leke aao," plant-based milk splits, the person who has made chai will say, "Uncle ji, ye mat leke aao, ye kharab hai." And that's it. The future of that product is over there without the person who's paid money for it ever even tasting it. So, yeah, I mean, we started from there, right at the very base.
No, thank you. And also finding the right food service partner. Romil, what's that journey been like?
Okay, so slightly easier for me because I was my own first food service partner. Because we own hotels and restaurants, so naturally it was a lot easier to do that. But I think what also helped was the fact that having spent close to 3 decades in hotels and restaurants, I had slightly easier access and I didn't have to struggle to get into hotels. We did go down to restaurants first. The first things we did was go and talk to hotels. We never used the top-down approach, though I knew a lot of senior people across the board. We always went down straight to the executive chef, straight to the F&B guy, saying, "Listen, we will come, we will do a demo for you, but not sending you a sample." Because again, if I send a sample, the future of my product and how it's going to be used and all the effort that our R&D teams, the production teams have put in may go to waste. Not that really may, because you don't know how someone's going to treat the product. And so every single thing, I must have done like maybe 300 demos myself where I was standing in the kitchen and actually standing with, you remember Shah, two of us would be going and doing demos, right? And saying, here are 10 restaurant chefs, here's the exec chef, I'm going to make product for you. I'm going to curate the menu. I'm going to print the menu for you. And we will actually do it as a tasting. Saying executive chef and team sit, we will cook and serve you. So it wasn't easy. I think the only thing that was easier was me getting access to be able to do these. Because it meant picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, listen, I need a favor." But other than that, it wasn't a walk in the park. And I think we learned the hard way to stop saying vegan and saying plant-based and plant protein, all the stuff that you guys talked about.
Yeah, and I think that's been a common finding that at the Good Food Institute India, we've also discovered through our many years of research, talking to undertaking these kind of studies, like the one we launched today, and there's a lot of those on our website, just sort of plug GFI India's website, and whatever resource that you're looking for in the alternative protein, plant-based protein space, you will likely find the resource there. But that is something that we also have maintained, that whenever people ask us, we also say to people that using broader positioning such as plant-based, such as plant protein will get you further than the vegan positioning that even Abhinav was talking about and Romil has said. Pranjuli, my question to you, given the conversation that's been happening, is for developing the right dishes when it came to ProMeat, what was that journey like for you and the food service players that you are partnering with, that ProMeat is partnering with?
I think the thing is the business will last years. In the past 2 years, we've actually started being a B2B there. So initially, what we used to do was we used to collaborate directly. We used to reach out directly to the chefs and then give our products for them to try it out first. But then we made a lot of mistakes, corrected it and learned it on the way that that's not the correct way out. So we started reaching out to them saying that we will actually come and give a live demo, as Romil mentioned, and that actually really worked well with us. We also generally, what we do is we bring our own chef with us so that they can actually look through the restaurant's menu, understand what exactly is the customer segment that they are targeting and what is the exactly taste palette of the end consumer. And that's how our chef and the chef of the restaurant, they can actually really collaborate, think about it, what would be the right dish, what is the right flavor profile that any dish could have in their menu, and then really come up with one particular or many different dishes in one category that they're actually wanting to create. So I think that has been the strategy overall. Specifically on the product side, I think we have been really technical in terms of what is the texture profile, what is the flavor profile that we are wanting to give to our consumers. For that, we have done a lot of tastings and a lot of specifically curated sensory experiences. Where we also do blind tastings and sort of similar flavor profile tastings, where we give consumers a chance to pick, what kind of texture and what kind of flavor profile that they're really like. So that's how we create our base products and then we give it out to the restaurants.
Now that's very helpful, and in fact a question to you both is, given both of you have done different types of inroads with food service and in your case with hospitality as well, what is the kind of format of product that has found most customer success?
So I think the first thing was dairy alternatives were the easiest one to go to. Oat milk, almond milk, dairy-free butter and cheese, because these were formats that people were already, in a certain sense, familiar with. They were used to paying a premium for it already, so there wasn't that much of a struggle. But when we did our meat alternatives, our plant proteins, part of the reason we went to hotels first was because we realized that it is more expensive. Hotels already have a little bit of leeway when it comes to food costs versus a standalone restaurant or QSR chain. Also again, because I run both, so it was a bit simpler to start with hotels because they're not as price conscious, and they always realize that this space, any menu has a couple of loss leaders. It doesn't really matter. It's like we're never going to get a 20% food cost on the lobster. We approached every chef with the same thing, saying, look, 1 out of 300 customers is going to order that lobster. It's going to be the same for what we're offering. We are now saying that, and of course, I think part of that learning also came from the fact that having been in the hotel business and worked with international brands, there was this distinct move internationally where most of the brands, whether it was Hyatt, whether it was Marriott, whether it was an Accor, they were all implementing a plant-based strategy as part of their sustainability initiative, saying that X percentage of your menu needs to be plant-based. Because, of course, adoption here is taking time, but in many, many countries, it's pretty much the norm. You have to have it. It's part of brand standard. And our approach was, I guess, to say, hey, listen, if I'm talking to XYZ at Marriott, say, look, internationally, this country is doing this. Why don't you be the first? I think that is what really appealed to them, which is why we found that adoption coming in, but I think also because when it came to building our range of products, we looked at ourselves not as a product supplier, but as a solution provider. And that's why our range was pretty extensive, because we had milks, I don't even know if I am allowed to say milks, but dairy alternatives.
So we say
So someone's going to shout at me somewhere. We had butter not spelled like butter. We had cheese not spelled like cheese. And of course we had meat organs. And then we said, look, if I come to you and I say I want to sell you X, I didn't want to sell a product. It had to be, you want to implement a plant-based menu, you want to implement a vegan menu, I'm your guy. I can give you meat organs, I can give you dairy organs, I can give you everything you need, including mayonnaise. And here's the menu, you don't need anything, I can send a guy and train your people. And if you need someone to come and print the menu for you and do a TED talk, I'll do that also. I think that's what genuinely helped. It wasn't cheap, it wasn't necessarily the most efficient way, but I think that's what helped us, and I think that's why we sort of got to where we are today. I mean, we could have gone somewhere else, but anyway, and I think what's also happening is the good and the bad is that a lot of people say, hey, listen, what's happening in the West, we're a few years behind. Which also means when the West decided that veganism is taking a dip and Impossible is going down, Beyond is going down, it didn't happen to us here. Because we were a few years behind, so we will see it changing. But now we're getting faster, so we'll probably catch up by the time the rates are going back up.
Hopefully. I think we're all a room of optimists to see and hope that the sector grows and flourishes and that we don't see that much of a dip that I know globally the alternative protein and plant-based protein industry has seen in the likes of Impossible and beyond. I feel like that's where the positioning and the category and the marketing piece is so critical for Indian consumers, and I think I asked the same question to Abhinav and Harpreet also, and the same for you in terms of when you are speaking to food service partners, the ones that have ProMeat and are collaborating with you, what marketing strategies have they used, if any? Have they highlighted your product a certain way? Are they using plant protein? What is the positioning? If you can talk a bit about that.
I think it really depends on restaurant to restaurant because every restaurant has a set of different consumers that they're catering to. So the positioning of the product has been really different in each one of them. It could be in restaurants like or cafe. For Mescalita, they are actually working on an entire new menu which is entirely based on our pepperoni. So that is like one positioning that they created with our product. So I think it really differs. And what we've seen that it's also a trend that keeps on coming and going. So in the middle we saw that there was a big trend of finger foods like nuggets, and at that particular point of time that product was really going well. We also realized that there are few like certain kinds of dishes that become popular in the middle, and that's how the restaurants would want to have more of an inclusive menu, and they would want to have something new which they can showcase. So at that particular point of time, they would require certain products from our side. And what we generally try to do is that we sort of look at the restaurant's menu and what is the current trend that's going on. We also do some sort of studies on our end as to see what kind of positioning would work best for the restaurant and for the product category. Do we call it plant-based? Do we call it vegan protein? So vegan protein or just high protein has been really working well for right now. But I would say that in the past 1 year, just calling it plant-based was a safe play. And I think most restaurants that we were partnering with were doing that. So, and right now, a lot of restaurants would just, have a wheel or just have a plant symbol in front of the dish name. So they are not particularly calling it plant-based or not particularly calling it vegan, just notifying it that this is safe for vegans or this is something for vegetarians. So I think that has been one understanding which is built over time.
Lovely. And what do you see future collaborations, given that now you've done Mescalita, you've got a couple of others, what do you see future collaborations for ProMeat looking like, spaces that you want to explore?
So I think currently they've been mostly in the fine dining space. And from what trends we've been noticing in the US or in EU is that, fast food spaces have been really picking up vegan foods there, and it's a really popular thing.
Raji a bit earlier, and she's the expert, so go find her if you want answers to any consumer-related tests, studies, and questions. But we've seen that as well, that we've released studies which ask consumers around their affinity towards whether it's the plant-based terminology, whether it's the vegan terminology, whether we give them an animal product and the plant-based equivalent, and if they taste both, what is the gap between that? That is a sensory experience. So it's a part of our sector building work as well to make sure, and it's wonderful that brands are also doing that. A part of the study that we launched today as well was that finding the gaps that exist and how can we make recommendations to the entire sector, whether it's manufacturers, whether it's startups, whether it's entrepreneurs, whether it's people in the hospitality industry to A, take a chance and dive into this and help it find a place in the menu, but also what can any gaps and barriers be and how can they be addressed right in the kitchen, as you said. Romil, what does collaboration for you, Plantaway, look like in the future with newer hospitality or quick service brands?
So I think one of the things that we've sort of been also working on is, of course, we talked to the brands, talked to another hotels, active conversation to actually develop a range of products for an entire hotel brand. Because again, it's part of their global mandate. Takes its own time because unfortunately there is no. The thing is, when it comes to doing a collab with an independently owned brand, much simpler, I believe, because you're talking to one decision maker. When you're trying to do something with a hotel chain, you may have one perceived decision maker. The one perceived decision maker says, "Wow, beta, great product, हम करेंगे." And then he says, "Don't talk to purchase." And then the procurement guy looks at you and says, "अभी December है ना, आप June में आके मिलोगे." And then you follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. And finally you get fed up of following up and you make a phone call and say, "Call the guy, man. I want to meet him." Not much more. Right? So, Romil's a great guy, by the way. I did a lot of stuff with him like 8 years ago. Anyway, after that later. So, and then somewhere in all of this conversation, you know that the brand wants something, you know that the decision maker who's the chef wants something, and then it all comes down to price. And that's where it takes more time. So we have 3 or 4 active collabs happening. Again, we're lucky in a certain sense because we're able to collab with ourselves, like we did the Plantaway HTBC ice cream, or we did something that we've become a leader. It's just a little bit simpler. I see Pranab sitting here. I think I fried Pranab brings a few years ago non-stop to say, "Hey, listen, NRI, please. And of course they help. Again, they also help because I'm also part of NRI from a different business side of it. So I think the network, and it's a struggle because plant protein today is still a little more expensive. There's a lack of pure awareness and information, which is not going to go away quickly. I mean, it's as simple as someone will see me eating rice and they'll say, "But you said you're gluten free." Yeah, but I said no gluten. So there's this whole issue. Do people understand what is carb free, what is gluten free, what is vegan, what is plant based? There's that. Unlike what we did, so we launched the brand in the UAE as well. I got very, very fast adoption because I didn't have to teach anyone anything. I didn't have to do anything there. I mean, I had to do something. But it was like 1/10 the effort that I had to make here. So there are collabs coming, some really fun ones. Can't talk about them now, my marketing head will kill me. So we're all still about marketing heads for some reason. I don't know why.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think what we also want from this event and bringing these success stories to the stage, yours, Pranjuli, yours, and ProMeat as well. I can see Devika sitting on there. I think we want to, and it's also like having Earth Cafe as a place that is fully plant-based as well, and they are such pioneers when it comes to plant-based food. Big thank you for having us. But I think like just more space for people to take the plunge, work it out when it comes to formats, have open conversations, try, push and pull, Everybody needs people like Harpreet to go back and say, no, do this better, do it differently. And I think that's how we all learn. So it's good to see that there is collective momentum, effort, and passion to take this industry over the line. Thank you so much, Romil. Thank you, Pranjuli. It's been wonderful seeing you chat
I
today.
just noticed something. Look at our mics. That one's mock meat, this one's vegan. This is plant-based.
Absolutely.
Neutral one.
Neutral. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.